Welcome to today's episode of the Fink Tank. I am your host, Vincent Fink, and today I am doing a July recap as we are almost done with July, and there's been so much developing that I can probably not fit it all in this video, but I'll do my best to give you a quick rundown. So we'll start with some of my personal things going on, and then I'll touch on some of the global or national issues as well that I feel to be important. So this month started off with the portrait show at Modern Eden Gallery that had already started on June 15th and went through July 4th. Right after that, I actually appeared in Pueblo, Colorado for July 5th through the 26th of this month. So still running through this week. And that was my Unnatural Selection show at Blowback Gallery, the solo show in the OG Gallery, and then also the Truth show going on in the Big Blow Gallery. And I was a juror of the show, and that was a lot of fun to participate in that. It was an excellent opening. We had some sales even before the show started, and then we had plenty of nice turnout. Lots of people who really enjoyed the work and made me feel really good about all the effort I put into it. And we had some more sales throughout the night and the next day through the weekend, so that was pretty cool. Also, I performed at the Third Eye Carnival, which was a series of musicians and speakers, and it was a pretty awesome experience, actually. I really enjoyed some of the other musicians. Most of them, actually, were pretty amazing. And entertaining. Everyone was pretty entertaining, and I really enjoyed the talks as well. And I got to meet some of the speakers, so that was a big cool thing for me to actually get to meet some people like Charlie Robinson. And there's several others that I had spoke to actually on the AM podcast, and so I got to basically meet most of those guys, and it was pretty cool. So yeah, that's a great little recap if you want to go check that out on AM Wake Up, and it's on Rumble. That's where I tend to check them out. So yeah, that was pretty rad, man. The people, the connections I made while I was there, it was just amazing. I would have liked to have stayed longer, but we had to come home quickly to beat the hurricane because Hurricane Beryl was barreling in right behind us. We barely made it in right before any rain started, and then basically slept through a tornado, waking up a few times hearing massive winds and things shaking outside and tree limbs smacking things, and just kind of slept through that and hoped for the best. And luckily not much happened at our house. We didn't get any power outage, and I did get a big tree limb fall from a tree in my backyard, and luckily it just grazed the house. So I just had to kind of get part of it off the house, and there was just some very minor damage there, and lots of cutting up wood and bundling it, and being a hard man. Yeah, because hard times will make you a hard man. And I actually did have a backup generator finally ready, but lucked out this time and didn't have to use it. A lot of people were severely screwed for about a week. Most of the people I think I saw were several days. And yeah, it was pretty nuts. so far. As of just yesterday, I saw reported locally that Hurricane Beryl killed at least 22 people, and more than half were heat-related deaths. So that's pretty upsetting. That's a direct finger pointed at Centerpoint, who, yeah, left 2.26 million people without power for one duration or more. And yeah, people were dying of heat stroke. It's pretty sad. Sucks. Obviously, thousands more people are having to rebuild because their homes were struck by tree limbs and other catastrophes that ensue when a hurricane hits you because you're living on the Gulf. So again, I've been through this a bit. This ain't my first rodeo, so I had a generator ready to go that I just bought because only like 2 months before we did lose power, and I had food inside a cooler, and I just wanted to at least make sure that we didn't lose all our food, and maybe could power a few fans and devices and whatnot. So I did get a solar powered one by like 4 Patriots a couple of years ago, right after the winter apocalypse of 2021. And yeah, that actually didn't do very good. It didn't really work as advertised. They were very sly about saying that it could power a fridge, basically a mini fridge maybe. But this thing, well, they have a new one out that's like supposed to be a lot more power. So maybe I'll give it another shot someday soon, because it certainly needed more power. And so I returned that, and eventually just recently got around to replacing it with a gasoline powered. So good to have at least that. That's the cheaper route too, much cheaper. This was like just under $600 for like a Westinghouse, one that people use on RVs. And yeah, the solar powered one's going to run you at least like about 2,500 at least, end up from there. So it's pretty rough going the solar route. But that would be cool if you can. Because, man, you don't want to be dying in the heat. You don't want to be inconvenienced like that anyway. But certainly it's more than an inconvenience when people are dropping dead. And, yeah, the medical centers being filled with people who are, experiencing heat-related illness. The Texas Medical Center, by the way, was unaffected due to their own power grid. So that's an interesting caveat. It kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, what's the problem here with Texas really, and why are we having all these problems with our energy staying on when it seems like it's very doable for certain buildings, essential buildings, right, to stay on grid, or on their own grid even. It almost kind of makes you think, well, if a private grid is working out so well for the medical building, the whole medical plaza there, the center, it leads one to believe that perhaps a private grid dedicated to each region of the city, that might be the way to go. I don't know, because having it all consolidated under this center point doesn't seem to be working out. And ERCOT, before that, they got the blame last time during the winter apocalypse here. So there's always a ton of finger pointing and people not seeming to own up to their part of the job, when really maybe they all should be taking a part of the blame and be trying to work together to actually help people out, and keep people alive, and not living in a sweltering jungle of swamp heat. So that would be cool. They actually even run on, so the power grid at Texas Medical Center, I just thought I'd do a little digging on that. And it's interesting to know that they run on a combustion turbine engine, which of course is, probably coal or gas powered or something, but it heats. It has a heat recovery system where it uses steam from that combustion turbine engine to it funnels that heat in and actually turns it from waste heat into cool water heating and yeah, water temperature management. And they supposedly, I think they can even use that steam running through those pipes to fuel air conditioning, is what I think I understood. So it's a pretty amazing system that they've put together, because it does all of this, provides, and if you've ever been in the hospital, it's always super cold in there. So they don't slack on keeping the thermostat running hardcore all the time. And every room is just about temperature controlled. So they use all that. They also have steam for cleaning and sterilizing all of their equipment. So it's a very efficiently run system that reduces emissions, carbon emissions, by, what was it, 305,000, whatever. What's the unit of measure they use for that anyway? I don't know. I'll check back on that. Oh, emissions campus. The plant reduces carbon dioxide emissions on campus by 305,000 tons annually. So tons of carbon dioxide, literally. Amazing. So yeah, the innovation's out there. The innovation to reduce carbon emissions is there. It's being used often in conjunction with petro. So once again, just get it together. Stop acting like it's this one or the other thing, or that we can't have both of these technologies working together to be more efficient, right? What is the frickin' problem? Oh man, because Texas, there was a time before there were these carbon emission concerns where they were burning tons of coal, and we were even selling our surplus to other states. Legend has it. So I don't know really how we went from that to this, other than bureaucracy, right? It doesn't seem like there's any reason why we can't burn, baby, burn, and get that coal running when we need it, like during extreme weather events, which are going to become more and more frequent, because yes, climate change does exist. Does man-made climate change exist? That's a lot more up for debate. There's a lot of science proving that we don't have hardly any, if any, effect on these kind of things. The great factors, the prime movers, are the sun and Earth, geobiological, geothermal energy, and the way that interacts actually a lot with the sun. And so it's a, when there's sunspots and it's giving off these massive coronal emissions, that you don't think maybe that might have something to do with how the heat and the extreme weather that we experience on Earth might react? I mean, what gives all life on this Earth? What are we orbiting around? Okay, it obviously plays a big part, and we seem to leave that out of the conversation all too much. Not to mention the Earth's natural heating and cooling cycles that it has gone through over millennia. But I believe there's been some research. I'm not sure, actually. I don't know how they would test for that, but there probably is some link to the sun's coronal ejection activity and the heating of the planet. But they have also certainly found that, actually, if you look at the graphs, CO2 follows global temperature rises in these past weather patterns or climate patterns. It doesn't precede it. So it kind of blows the whole argument out of the water. You should really check out The Great Global Warming Swindle. It was a documentary that was released on the BBC, I think, of all places, back in like the late 90s. And that's on my Rumble channel. You can check that out too. Let's see here. So yeah, that would be cool if we figured that out. Other than that, of course, I feel like we've got to touch on the Trump shooting. Oh my God. I mean, and especially all the conspiracy theories surrounding this. I mean, certainly an American president being shot in public, at one of his rallies, and the failure of the Secret Service is very reminiscent of old times when somebody steps out of line from the globalist agenda, aka JFK. I mean, I feel like John F. Kennedy's assassination was one of the, as I believe, was it Bill Hicks or George Carlin? One of them, I believe maybe it was George Carlin, who said, that was just kind of one of the biggest fuck yous the government has ever just said blatantly to the entire nation of citizens. It's just like, here's a guy that's actually trying to do the right thing, and going against the global warmongering agenda, right? And he was trying to stop. He de-escalated the Cuban Missile Crisis when they were basically trying their best to go to war, right? And he kept kind of trying to take the peace route, and of course taking us off of this Federal Reserve fiat currency and getting us back onto a gold-backed dollar, U.S. government issued gold-backed dollar. That was another big no-no. You go against the Fed, the government's money printing machine. You don't mess with that, because devaluing it all is part of the larger agenda. You would think that our government and our economy would be worked in a way that would actually try to thrive, but no, not when you have these globalists behind everything who are trying to tank America because we've got guns and freedom and that liberty mindset that sets us apart and inspires the world to fight against tyranny. So they can't have us around. We are the Harvey Dent of the world, as I like to say, because if they can corrupt us and if they can ruin us and turn us into Two-Face, well, then they can do it to anyone, right? And so far, they're proving to be quite efficient at it. The division, the Two-Face, being the divide and conquer that is going on over Trump and or just Republicans and Democrats in general, but certainly more polarized than ever, with candidates at the top of the bill like Trump. And so him getting shot at, though, Jesus Christ. I mean, there's so many layers to this. The inadequacy, the ineptitude of the Secret Service is just mind-boggling. The fact that they blamed the reason why they didn't have any snipers on the roof there was because of the slope. I believe it was a 13-degree slope, and that's nothing, by the way. It's absolutely nothing. You can see the hearing. I believe it was just yesterday, and the House is grilling the Secret Service for this. I believe that the head of it, who's been giving us a lot of these BS answers, just got canned. I'm pretty sure she just got fired from her position, and rightly so. Making excuses like that of a 13-degree slope when handicap wheelchairs are okay with 15 degrees or less. So that's not saying very much about the validity of that explanation. It's just absurd. Again, finger pointings, people saying, I guess the Secret Service tried to blame it on the police. And the police kind of point back and said, hey, that's y'all guys' job, but actually there were police there. And then it seems to me like it was a stand down. I mean, it's the evidence is all there. Basically, the police or whoever was guarding the area nearby were told to go take a lunch break. Not that they asked for it, but they were basically told top down, like, hey, go take a break, right? So it's a lot of this top down orchestration. So certainly is a conspiracy. No doubt about it. There's a conspiracy going on here. Is it staged? I mean, what do you mean by staged? Do you mean if you think that Trump actually told somebody, hey, shoot from a sniper roof at my head, but just barely miss me, okay? Like, I'm going to turn my head at this one moment and you just nick my ear instead of nailing me in my eyeball or in the cerebellum. No, no, nobody's that fucking stupid, all right? Because nobody would trust any sharpshooter with that kind of job. That's an impossible task. It's ridiculous. I'm blown away that Joy Behar, or one of those Joys on The View, has been floating this theory that Trump did this for clout or something. It's like, give me a break. You people with your Trump derangement syndrome are just unbelievable. I mean, it would be laughable if it didn't have consequences. But putting these kind of ideas into the woke mind virus, it's just they eat up everything. It's just every kind of talking point. I just see it parroted on my social media, and it's amazing. It's amazing how many hoops you guys jump through to keep going along with this idea, like the narrative is legit, and that you're actually being told the truth by your government, who's informing the media what to say, right? Of course, trust the government, trust the media, trust the TV. So, no, it was purposeful, but not on Trump's end. Of course, he didn't want to almost get nailed in the face and actually get shot in the face. The ear is a part of your face. And it could have been a lot worse, right? If it was just a few centimeters away. Jeez. So it was purposeful by the deep state, I believe, orchestrated through perhaps diversity, equity, inclusion hires, the DEIs of the deep state and of the justice, the government, right? It's negligence by diversity, perhaps, because there's no reason to be having women who are shorter than the person they're supposed to be protecting and blocking with their own lives, right? Trump's a tall guy. You need tall people who can block him, and you need people who aren't going to hide behind him, like I saw one of those women. And you need to be able to holster your gun, like I saw one of those women. I think that was the same one who hid behind him, actually. But anyways, the other one actually seemed like she had her shit together. She was blocking as much as she could, and she was doing her job. But, some people just aren't cut out for it, and they shouldn't be in those positions. And it's very, very telling. But I don't know. This kid could have been, this Crooks kid could have been... it could have been MK Ultra. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I know that they've been toying with this and perfecting the technology to beam into somebody's head wirelessly and control them. I've actually seen some pretty haunting documentaries about this kind of stuff. They started with animals. They were able to first make a horse walk and, steer him basically. And once they were capable of doing that with a horse, they moved on to human trials and other things, right? It's a real thing. So, not saying that's what happened to this kid, but and I'm sure he's probably just nuts, but just being nuts ain't enough. It seems like he was possibly helped out and coerced to do what he was doing. Just again, like the JFK assassination, I believe Lee Harvey Oswald was just a patsy. He was just a cover for the deeper conspiracy. You basically, so I mean, that we know how this goes. This is not like new, people, okay? Like, this is how they fucking operate. They find a tool, a useless idiot, somebody who's willing to serve the system, and they kind of just wind him up. They feed him the right information. They get him to go do it, right? They don't even need MK Ultra. It's like people are dumb enough, and it's doable. All right. So that's the conspiracy. It's not a fake. That's ridiculous. If you believe Trump faked being possibly assassinated by having a bullet whiz right by his brain, maybe you have a bullet stuck in your brain. I don't know. But moving on, Biden fail. So Biden stepped down, right? He got COVID and now he's just gone. Nobody's even seen him for days. Kamala did like a little video chat with him where people are saying it looked like it might have been AI Joe or a pre-recording of some sort. It wouldn't surprise me. Kamala kind of slips up and says something like, "Joe, you're still on record," or on whatever. Like there's some kind of goof up, but I don't know if that's real. Like if or if maybe he is beaming in and talking to her, but. They're both just reading scripts anyway, so it really doesn't matter. And I guess that's what the Democrats have made their point very resoundingly clear, is that they don't care about having puppet presidents. They like puppet presidents. They like people who are, just play ball. And so as long as they just need to be a figurehead to read the script in front of them, right? And push the agenda forward, because the government's doing its best for you, and you can trust the government and everything it's doing, and they would never harm you, and they would never force you to take an experimental mRNA injection that puts graphene and other kinds of weird substances into your blood and body, and possibly be able to activate those metals via satellite or some other kind of advanced technology, wirelessly tapping into your mind and body, right? I mean, who fucking knows what they're going to do with this stuff in the near future? And people just lined up to take it. Hopefully some of those batches that were not too deadly were just saline and didn't have any of the graphene and other weird shit, but who knows? Certainly the less you take them, the better. But back on the Biden fail, I mean, it's interesting to me because just days before he decided to bow out so unceremoniously. I mean, everybody was on the left was talking about how, Joe's fit, he's great. They've been telling us this for years, even though we've been all pointing this out, like, hey man, this guy's like a vegetable basically. And falling upstairs 3 times in a row, falling here and there, tripping over sandbags, and falling off of bicycles and all. I mean, just the list goes on. We've all seen the gag reels of this guy. They're just gonna live on endlessly to haunt us and for us to laugh at, I guess, as well. But he was obviously not well, and it was a little sad. It was kind of elder abuse, and yet I kept getting people telling me how great he was and how he's the one making America great and whatever. But what they've really kind of proven is that they're just going to go with whatever's fed to them, because as soon as he's out, they all kind of just, oh, well, I guess that's for the best. And now nobody was really saying anything about Kamala, because nobody actually likes Kamala until the media announced, hey, looks like we're looking at Kamala now, right? And so now all of a sudden it's like, hey, Kamala, yeah, all right. And it's like, okay, cool. That's the same attitude y'all guys had about Biden. And so if you felt like that was a success, which that's what I'm getting from them too, is that they think even though he's an old fart who can't barely read a teleprompter, he somehow did all this great things, but it wasn't really him. It was the people behind him. And that's what really matters about a president anyway. It's not him. It's the group of people around him. Well, I mean, there's some truth to that. I mean, that was probably one of Trump's biggest mistakes, was having people around him who were part of the swamp, basically like Biden's whole crew. And so they were screwing him over every step of the way. They were not showing, they bragged about in interviews how they weren't, General Milley, I guess it was, but how they were hiding reports from him and stuff like that. So they were keeping him uninformed. They were blocking him in Congress. It was hard to really make some moves when you don't have people who really support your agenda around you. Whereas on the left, they're all singing the same song, right? And so it's pretty good, I guess. You just, all you really need is a person who can stand in front of people and just be that placeholder, right? Even if it's like Weekend at Bernie's, it's just a man to stand there and flop around and look like he's saying something and doing something when he's just the figurehead, and it's all being controlled by somebody else. So that's cool with them. Not totally cool with a lot of us. A lot of us want like a real leader, somebody who instills confidence and exuberance and courage and strength, right? So Elon Musk has kind of touched on that recently too, and he's endorsed Trump and contributed several, tens of millions of dollars. I think it was like $25 million to his campaign, and that always kind of just makes me wonder too. I mean, like, where does all this fucking money go for these elections and these campaigns? I mean, fuck, that's a lot of money. They spend a lot of money on this. Where's like the limit, or like what's like their goal? It's like, how much money do we need to kind of just like do this right? And then when is it like, what do they do with the rest of it? But anyways, yeah, so Kamala's raising money from all of her mega rich buddies on Capitol Hill and the media and all the people who kind of all support this establishments that's screwing us over endlessly, while giving 4-star hotels and 5-star hotels to illegal immigrants as veterans die on the street. Your tax dollar is hard at work. I just work hard so my illegal immigrant has a good life. That's what I want to do. I'm just trying to do the right thing. Fuck the veterans, right? They don't deserve it. Apparently. I mean, that's the message we're getting. So anyways, that's a nice little recap. That's 30 minutes, and I got to get to bed soon because I started a day job again. I'm working actually at my old job doing graphic design, t-shirt designs at Sunline Products. And so I'm kind of getting on a schedule with that, but it's pretty cool because it is certainly helping supplement some of my new ideas that I got coming very soon. So I'm looking forward to being able to fund some of my art dreams that I've been marinating on for some time, several years. So it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about the future. Things are looking up over here. Yeah, we'll hopefully chat a little more frequently. I'm not making any promises because I'm pretty good about just keeping my head down and working. I try not to get into too many confrontations online. It's so easy though when I scroll there to just like, I just want to put a little laugh emoji and a snarky comment on like just about everything I see, because I'm surrounded by people who are deeply invested in this system, and it's kind of comical. I mean, it really is when you just kind of see how these people react and how they just go with the flow and spread memes that aren't really very clever and usually lacking any substance. But yeah, so I'm trying to stay away from that and just get on, post my art, and get off. And so I'm going to keep doing that, and I'm going to keep making art, and nothing's ever going to stop me. And more great things such as the solo show and the Modern Eden shows that I've been doing. There's going to be plenty more of that, and others will be, I'm sure, as I progress, right? As I keep going, things are going to keep getting better. So I just keep grinding, baby, keep grinding. So you just keep it up out there. You keep the faith, do what you got to do, right? Take that bold step. It's going to be very uncomfortable at first, and you're probably going to hate it, but it'll feel good after a little while. That's what I'm feeling like right now. So cool. All right. We'll chat with you all soon. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of The Think Tank, and please subscribe and hit like, share, all that good shit. All right. Peace out. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed, please hit like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Also, if you want to support me as a content creator, as a artist, as a creator of culture, what art has always been throughout history, then if you think my voice has value, if you value free thinking artists who push themselves to the limits, then please head on to patreon.com/VincentFink. You can start at the price of a cup of coffee per month and will far exceed the monetary value of your investment with art gifts. So please check it out. And thank you very much for watching today, and we'll see you in the next vid.